Hello, welcome to Popalong RC, the RC car channel dedicated to RC car racing, and I am, let's say, the Popalong Tamiya fan. I am a bit of a Tamiya addict. I have a collection of in excess of 20 Tamiya cars currently in my collection, but I always want more. So in this video, I'm going to give you a little lowdown on some of the best Tamiya cars in my collection and my wish list. So what Tamiya RC am I going for next? So this is the Tamiya special, and what can I say about Tamiya? All we have to do really is look at this car down the front here. That is pure nostalgia. In fact, both of the cars on this side of the table are pure nostalgia. Driving these cars, it's more than just driving these cars and having them sat on the shelf. It starts really with the build process. It's something about getting your screwdrivers out and getting these cars built from the sprues in the box. I really enjoy building Tamiya kits. I like the way they're presented, I like the way they're packaged, and I can remember building cars as a kid, and now I've actually got my son building his first couple of Tamiyas, which is fantastic. There are cars like this which are no longer available, some originals that have got the original speed controls in. If you can get hold of one of these second hand, they're great to have in your collection. But there are lots of amazing RC cars available now, which I would definitely recommend. So as I say, this summer I took this out for a real nostalgia hit, running it around on the grass, the way these cars are meant to be run. And yeah, it took me back to my childhood. And I think that's one of the reasons why Tamiya is so popular today, because there's a generation of big kids like myself that love their Tamiya cars. Maybe they couldn't afford them as their kids, but now they've got a bit of disposable income. They're getting themselves all the toys that they didn't have as kids, and I am very guilty of that. So when it comes to building these cars, obviously you've got the kits, but Tamiya are responsible for some of the most amazing shells, and that is especially for their rally cars and their touring cars. They have got some amazing shells available. This one here, this is on the XV01 chassis. I really like the shell. My word, would a sticker's a bit of a challenge. This is quite a challenging sticker job to do, but again, aesthetically, their rally cars look fantastic, and there's a few cars they've just released this year which I'm definitely looking at adding to my collection, but we'll come to that in a little bit. Now, it's one thing to have plenty of RC cars in your collection or sat on your shelf, but do you know what? What I get most out of RC is the social element. It's socialising with fellow fanatics, and the way I do that is through going to RC car events, and often they are race events. We've been to some informal events where we get to run the likes of the Tamiya Lunchbox. Now this Tamiya Lunchbox has had a few modifications done because actually I really enjoy driving it, and as I was breaking it, instead of just replacing with like-for-like parts, I went full Monty on this, and I got lots of aftermarket parts to make this amazing. And that's the beauty about all these Tamiya cars. If you like spending money on bling, there is bling to be bought for pretty much every model available in the Tamiya range. You can hop your cars up and make them as amazing as you wish. So, in terms of racing then, what options have we got? The first one, as we see here, this is a rally car. This is the XV01. I've also got an XV02 RS in the collection, but rally is a very popular form of RC. Probably not as popular in the UK as in other countries, but we've run a couple of events where we've run these rally cars, and it's been super fun and really well attended. But the cars we race the most are probably the TTO ones, and obviously there's some massive competitions that we go to, but we love nothing more than a bit of club racing at our local club. And we even managed to organise a YouTuber race where we got to meet the likes of Kev Talbot and Tomley RC, and we showed them how to drive the TTO2s at a local club. Great fun had by all. Again, that was sort of box stock racing, not too many hop-ups made at all. So TTO1 is a great car because they've also got the Tamiya trucks, which run off the TT01 chassis. And again, these are sort of entry-level race classes, so if you're new to racing, it's a great way to start your racing career. They're affordable cars and super competitive because they're not too fast, therefore it levels the playing field out a little bit. But you can't talk about Tamiya without mentioning the buggies. Now over here, as I mentioned before, I've got this original Falcon, but my first ever Tamiya was the Tamiya Hotshot. I had this as a kid, and recently I bought a re-release of the Tamiya Hotshot. I built it up and I took it to the Revival, which is a sort of massive competition here in the UK, and I raced it up against other old cars. It's fair to say it wasn't set up as a racer, it was built box stock. The following year I did the same thing, but this time I wanted a little bit better, so I went with the Super Hotshot, and again had a great time running the Super Hotshot up against many other vintage buggies. But this year I wanted to have something that was maybe a little bit more competitive, so I opted for this car here, and this is the Top Force Evo. Now this has got carbon fibre, oil filled shocks, and it is a much more racy four-wheel drive buggy, and it was great fun to run. It was possibly the worst conditions I've ever driven a car in, torrential rain, flooded track, but the car coped quite well. I have actually sort of cleaned it up and oiled it up. There aren't any signs of rust, so I've done a pretty good job there. But super fun with the Top Force Evo, and that's another car that I'm going to be running again next year. Probably my best Tamiya buggy in terms of performance. It's a really strong platform. But if you haven't got a great deal of money and you're looking to start out with RC buggies, there are a couple of newer cars on the market. You've got the DT04, and also you can still get hold of the DT02. And we've had a pair of those this year, which we've been racing at a couple of local clubs. Running these cars with the silver can motor are really beginner friendly, really easy to drive. In terms of top end performance, if you're going to try and compete with pro level buggies, it's not going to happen. But if you've got a couple of mates and you're running these cars around and you're running the same sort of electrics in them, it is really fun, fair racing. So the DT01, DT02, DT03 and DT04 chassis, they're all quite similar. So they're like a two-wheel drive buggy, sort of like a modern version of the Falcon that we've got here. So another car that would come into sort of this category, which is probably even more basic, is something like the Tamiya Grasshopper. I did actually get one of these year before last, and I painted it up, put lots of time and effort into making it look amazing. The plan was to take that to the Charged RC event in Blackpool and race it up against other Grasshoppers. Unfortunately for me, I didn't do the servo screw up, so the servo saver came loose after a little dink into somebody, and my steering was out in the first round. So it didn't have the best race in the world. Maybe that's a project I need to revisit. But yeah, super fun, really nice, cool looking cars. But I say, the cars we've probably used the most here at Popalong in terms of Tamiya would be cars that are legal at the Iconic Cup and at club racing. So the Tamiya MO3 is absolutely one of my favourites. It kind of is the first car I really raced indoors, and it is a sort of two-wheel drive, front-wheel drive Mini, and then you've got the rear-wheel drive Minis as well. So the MO3, the MO5 and the MO7 are all front-wheel drive, whereas you've got the MO2, the MO4 and the MO6, which are rear-wheel drive. More recently, they've brought out the MB01. The MB01 is a car that you can build either as a front-wheel drive car or as a rear-wheel drive car, and I actually built one of those not long ago with the Fiat Abarth shell. Again, aesthetically an amazing car. Now, that is a car that I want to add to my collection yet again, because they've re-released the Tamiya Mini, and this is sort of top of my wish list at the moment. An MB01 Tamiya Mini Cooper. Now, when I raced it before, the performance of the car, it wasn't as reliable as I would like, but it's a project for me. Can I get that car competitive at a club meet? That's a little mission that I'd like to put myself on. So top of my wish list at the moment, MB01 Mini Cooper. It's going to happen, trust me. That is definitely a project for me. Because the mini racing that we've done in the past is absolutely fantastic. I've got the MO3, I've got 2 or 3 MO5s, I've got a couple of MO7s as well. So I'm definitely going to be having a rethink and a reshuffle of my collection, and I think the Tamiya Minis are definitely going to have a comeback very soon. Do you know what? Sometimes the cars don't always go to plan though. I spent an awful lot of time painting, decorating one of my cars. It was actually the Tamiya F103 six-wheeler Tyrrell. It's beautiful, beautiful, stunning. Took it racing, performed amazingly, had a little crash, absolutely smashed the shell to pieces. So that was quite an upsetting day for me. But here at Popalong RC, we're racers at heart, and I believe that every car I've got in my collection deserves to see the dirt or see the track at least once, because that's why I've got them. I've got them to drive them, experience them. They're not simply shelf queens. For example, this Lunchbox here, we got gifted this beautiful shell from the guys over at Mill End when we ran one of our Popalong GPs, and I was going to keep it on the shelf looking pretty, but it wants to be run, and therefore it has been out on the track, and I think it looks stunning. So there is definitely going to be some more big wheel racing here on the channel. We've got some plans for some rally coming up very soon, so I'll be getting the XV01 out and also the XV02. We're definitely going to be doing some more buggy racing, possibly wait till we go back outside, because we're going to head over to Hearts and a couple of the other local clubs, but there is definitely going to be plenty of buggy racing here on Popalong RC. But what Tamiya cars do I need to add to my collection? You tell me. What would you like to see here at Popalong RC as opposed to what I've got on my wish list? So I'm definitely thinking some of the new BMW licensed shells that they've got on their TT02 platform is something that I'm definitely interested in getting. So there will be more cars coming to the channel very soon. If you like what you see, if you like Tamiya, like, subscribe, hit the old ding dong bell, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.